Hello, everyone. This is Shu, and um, for those of you who don't know me, I'll introduce myself. I'm the founder of Grace and Hope Consulting. I am a Christian counselor, mental health counselor, and a disability consultant. I am passionate about supporting caregivers as well as women and youth who are experiencing things such as depression, anxiety, guilt, shame, grief, and trauma. So, on this video, I wanted to talk about why and how to plan ahead. And I'm going to make this very short. I know everybody's time is precious. So, I want to get to the point and make and share these tips with you. And hopefully, this will help you on your journey, either as a caregiver or your journey to emotional wellness or whatever it is that you do in life. I think all of us can benefit from this. So, why is it important to plan ahead? I believe that planning ahead it's a very effective way to reduce stress. And why do I say that? Often we get overwhelmed, we get stressed about things in life. I mean, life is stressful in general. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do for a living, who's in your support system and what you're dealing with. Life is stressful, period. And we all deal with that. And one way to reduce stress, one way to manage to cope or to to effectively address stress in your life is to be proactive. And planning ahead is one very good way, a very effective way to do it. So to answer that question again, why do you need to plan ahead? Because one, it's a very effective way to be proactive in reducing stress in your life. That's why it's important to plan ahead. And it doesn't matter if you're a business owner, if you're a parent, if you are an employee somewhere, if you're a caregiver, if you're a single parent, single moms, if you are someone struggling with emotional wellness, this is for everyone. So this video, I'll make kind of general, that way it can apply to all of us because this topic applies to everyone. If you're a human being, you know that life is stressful. And if you know that life is stressful, then being proactive about it is the best way to manage it, the best way to reduce the effect of stress in your life. So then since we already know that, now that we established that, then how do you plan ahead? And first, one of the things you want to look at first is ask yourself, what are those things that are stressful in your life? What are those things that are very overwhelming? What takes a lot of your time? So there's 3 questions. What's stressful? What's overwhelming? What takes a lot of your time? Those are your answers to those 3 questions should be the things that you want to plan ahead for. So for that first point, like I just mentioned, so what do you plan for? You want to plan for things that are stressful, things that are overwhelming, and things that take a lot of your time. So for example, I recently was talking to a mom, and she says when her husband's away from ministry, she gets overwhelmed because she's alone with the kids, and bedtime, can be kind of hectic. As a mom, I can so relate. So that's one thing that gets very stressful and overwhelming for her. So then that's one thing for her that she can plan ahead for. If you're a caregiver, maybe having a day, like for me, it's when I plan for people to be and support me, especially caring for my kids. And then when people don't show up, then that's something that's stressful. So to plan ahead, I want to make sure that I have a backup plan. I want to make sure that I have people around, a list of people to help. So what is it for you? Again, what are the things that are stressful, overwhelming, that take a lot of your time? Those are the things you want to plan for. So like, it doesn't have to be something complicated. For example, something that might take a lot of your time could be preparing meals. Like if you working all day, you come home and you're tired, you want to spend time with your family, but then you're spending so much of, half of your evening is, spent cooking the meal. And that's time that, that yes, we all have to eat. I mean, we all need the nourishment, the nutrition and all that. But that's also time that maybe you wanted to spend more with your family. So maybe that's something you can plan ahead. So the next step of, how to plan ahead is what can you do ahead of time? So again, of those things, let's look at the mom who, like I just shared a few minutes ago, who was overwhelmed around bedtime when she was alone with the kids because we just there's so much to do when, the kids want to play, nobody wants to go to bed. So for her, one of the strategies that she came up with, she could actually get the kids' pajamas set ahead of time. So, for example, in the morning when the kids took the pajamas off, instead of putting them instead of putting them everywhere or anywhere in the house, they'll have a designated spot, where they'll put it. I have a lovely friend who actually, when I was in the hospital, who taught my kids to put their pajamas under the pillow, which I thought was pretty neat. And that way, that night, that night when they're ready for bed, it's always there, and it's one easy place the kids can go and find it. So again, that's just one simple you can plan ahead. If I we take the example of the meal, if meals takes a lot of your time and it's something you want to plan ahead for, maybe it's defrosting the things ahead of before you leave for work. Maybe it's using a crock pot. Maybe it's some people do freezer meals where they'll cook a lot of meals ahead of time and then put in the freezer. So they might sacrifice a day or afternoon that they block that time just to cook meals, but then they're saving time in the long run because that's one afternoon they can cook, I don't know, 5-10 meals depending on what plan you're using. Like some people are very creative with that, but then that's 5-10 evenings that they just literally reclaim, or that's time that they now can use spend more time with their family. So it doesn't have to be something complicated. Just think about, of those things that are stressful, those things are overwhelming, those things that take a lot of your time, which part of those activities, which part of those tasks can you do beforehand? So if you're preparing for if you're an entrepreneur, you're preparing for a big major event, start breaking those tasks, in that big plan, that big goal, in smaller tasks, and start doing as much as you can ahead of time. If you have to send emails to people, for example, you can draft those emails and save them in your inbox, or even some, depending on what you use, what software, what platform you're using, you can schedule those emails ahead of time. So again, it takes time. It takes that pressure away for you, that stress for, oh, I have to do 10 million things and I don't have time I need to send them on Thursday, but today is Monday. I have time on Monday. The rest of the week, I don't have time into Thursday, into after Thursday. So then on Monday, you can drop those emails. Either you can, schedule them if you have the ability to do so, or you can even have them just, ready written out and saved in your draft. That way on Thursday, all you have to do is hit send. That's simple. So again, what of those things are stressful? What's overwhelming? What takes a lot of your time? Then what part of those tasks or activities can you do, beforehand? Can you do ahead of time? Again, it's all about being proactive. Instead of waiting for the shoe to drop, instead of waiting for stress to come, you want to start addressing those issues before they become too stressful for you. So, for example, if you're a caregiver, if you have children with special needs, maybe it's making sure you have the emergency bag, and not maybe, I mean, that's, you want to make sure you have that should be a priority. Have the emergency bag that has all like the list of the medications they take, the maybe if they need rescue meds, maybe they use like an EpiPen and the inhaler, those things already in the backpack. That way it's easy, it's so much accessible that if you have to run out the door to take, go pick up another kid or run to the emergency room, it's all in there. Because again, when you're in the middle of a crisis, because you have to run a kid to the hospital, honestly, that's stressful. It doesn't matter who you are, that is stressful. And you might know all those things about your child, about your loved one, but in that moment, you have 10 billion things going through your mind. And it's definitely easier to just pull out a list and just show them the list of medication. And then you can attend to your kid instead of sitting there and trying to remember all the medication they take and the dosage and the timing and all that stuff. So again, those are things that you can do just to prepare ahead of time to reduce the stress in those time of crisis. For example, like, back to the idea of being a caregiver or help, even just a parent. That's not just for people who are caring for someone with a special need or chronic illness or disabilities. Just being a parent, for example, you want to have that bag ready for your child. Even adult, let's say, if you work, you probably have a work bag that has all your stuff already in there, right? Hopefully you do. If you have something you use for work every single day, it's in the same bag every day you can easily access that bag and it's ready to go, for you in the morning. So like, if you know you need care for your family, then maybe having a list of people who can help in times of needs. If you take one kid to the hospital, who else can be there to take care of the rest of the family? So having a list, already planning that again ahead of time to reduce that stress, having a list of people who you already talk to, already agree they can help, can be a neighbor, can be a babysitter, can be, maybe if you use special agency that provide care for your loved one, or for your kids, you have those already written out somewhere. Have the people's name, the phone numbers. It's already on the fridge, maybe, or you have a folder for that. That it's easy. Again, in that moment of crisis, you just pull the list. You can call them. And one thing that I even do, just to touch on people who might be dealing with emotional struggles right now. If you when some one thing that I do with people that I work with is to create a wellness plan. So that the wellness plan will go through things that no, it goes through like, what does it look like when you're well? Like when you're at your best, what does it look like? What do you look like? What does life look like around you? Most people say, well, I'm happier, I'm going to work, I'm more positive, I'm active, I'm engaged with people, like whatever it is for you. And then we're going to, well, what does it look like when you're not well? And they'll say, well, I'm usually in bed all day. I might not answer my phone. Might not be eating. Some people will be eating, too much. Some people will be sleeping too much. So it depends how, your condition or your situation affects you. It's different for all of us, for everyone. But going through that wellness plan, how people kind of plan, again, that, planning ahead. So they kind of create that plan. And the third part of that plan is then who can help you when you are in those moments when you're not doing well. And then they make a list of, they try to make a list. We work together to try to come up with who is already in their support system that can help them. Maybe they need a neighbor. They need someone, let's say, to help them walk the dog. So maybe a neighbor can help with that. Maybe they need someone, a friend that can check on them if they haven't heard from them for 2 or 3 days. Maybe that's an accountability partner. That's someone that can send them a text or call. If they didn't hear from them, they know maybe they're starting to feel low. Go knock on the door. Depending, again, it's different for everyone. But kind of having that wellness plan helps you to plan ahead for those times when you're not well. So that's like the wellness plan is one tool that we use for people with emotional wellness concerns. But you can create a plan for everything and anything in life. Yes, life cannot be perfect. I'm not saying that if you have a plan that, something might not happen that's totally outside of the plan. That could happen. It's part of life. It could happen. But if you have a plan, you're at least reducing, some of the stress that, could come from all of that. So, we can't control everything in life, but the things that we can plan ahead are the things often it's very beneficial to do so because that reduces our stress in times of crisis. And so that we can have a more peaceful and more relaxing life as much as we can, right? So we do what we can to kind of control the chaos around us. So that's why, again, you want to plan ahead and I kind of share some tips on how to do so. So that's it for today. I just wanted to share some of those tips. Remember, you're planning ahead to reduce and better manage stress in life. And the way to manage stress in life is to be proactive. Being proactive requires us to plan ahead. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.